Massive changes are afoot for the next era of Doctor Who. We've got a brand new logo, we've got a brand new international hosting platform, we've got 2 new Doctors. When are we going to be seeing them in 2023? Well, stick around, we're going to break down all of the news now. So on my live stream this week, I broke down the news about what was going to be happening for the future of Doctor Who in 2023, with those anniversary and festive specials that are going to be seeing the return of David Tennant and the debut of Ncuti Gatwa as the 14th and 15th Doctor respectively. However, one day after that live stream, we've had some massive news drop, so that live stream segment that's not going to be uploaded, I'm going to do a whole new thing here. But first, some really quick bits of housekeeping. I'm going to be at MCM Comic Con this Monday as a guest on Jack Reeves' Doctor Who The Community Show Live. We'll be joined by voice actor Chris Walker-Thompson and also Luke and Meg from DW 2012. We'll be there on the Sunday at 11:30 AM on the creator stage, so you will need a priority ticket for the event, but they're only £1 or £2 more expensive than the normal one, and you get to go in at 10 AM. I'll be sticking around after the panel if you wanted to get any photos or wanted to chat or any autographs or anything like that, so hopefully I'll see you folks there on Sunday. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to my Patreon. My full edited review of The Power of the Doctor is being made at the moment, and patrons will get it first there. They'll also get their name in the credits, but patrons also will have early access to all the other reviews that I've been doing recently. I'm going to be starting a William Hartnell review marathon in December, where I'm making my way through the entirety of his era of Doctor Who, from An Unearthly Child to The Smugglers, because I've already reviewed The 10th Planet. Patrons right now can get early access to the first 5 reviews in the marathon. Check out the links down below, you'll be massively helping to support the channel. Now, on to the big news. So immediately dropping after The Power of the Doctor's broadcast on Sunday at around 9 PM, we got this news update, this official statement on the official Doctor Who website, confirming David Tennant is the Doctor. We saw him become the new Doctor at the end of The Power of the Doctor, leaving many fans confused. But thanks to this little 10-second teaser at the end of the special, we do know that Ncuti Gatwa has in fact filmed something for the upcoming run of Doctor Who. In a statement, Russell T Davies said, "If you thought the appearance of David Tennant was a shock, we've got plenty more surprises on the way. The path to Ncuti's 15th Doctor is laden with mystery, horror, robots, puppets, danger, and fun. And how is it connected to the return of the wonderful Donna Noble? How, what, why? We're giving you a year to speculate, and then all hell lets loose." The 3 special episodes will transmit in November 2023 as Doctor Who celebrates its 60th anniversary. So they're not going to be doing what they've been doing in 2022, where they've been passing out these specials across the year. All 3 of them will drop during Doctor Who's 60th anniversary month. And while for some reason this extra bit of information was not on the website, it has been shown in press releases, there will be another episode in 2023 over the festive period, which will see Ncuti Gatwa take control of the TARDIS as the 15th Doctor. It's unclear as to whether that's a New Year's Day episode or a Christmas one, but either way, we're going to be getting 4 specials in this block. So you heard that right, 3 specials, the first one directed by Rachel Talalay, the second one by Tom Kingsley, and the third one by Chanya Button. They're going to be dropping in November. And then Ncuti Gatwa somewhere between December 24th and January 1st. And I thought for a while that would be it. They'll let the news breathe, they'll let the power of the Doctor settle, but no, because a day later, they decided to drop this brand new announcement. BBC and Disney branded television join forces on Doctor Who, and as you'll see here, we have a brand new logo for the show, obviously harkening back to the 1970s with John Pertwee and Tom Baker's run. This is a very recognisable logo for those for the classic series, but the blue, the boldness, I do like this quite a bit. And also just hidden away in the top left here, you'll see a banner logo which has the formatted Who, but a much more standard Doctor. That's the case for many brands nowadays. You have the banner, which can go on many bits of merchandising, but you also need something that can fit into a square, so it can fit onto a social media profile picture. That's just how marketing is done nowadays. But anyway, let's read on. Disney Plus is set to become the new global home for upcoming seasons of Doctor Who outside of the UK and Ireland. The BBC continues as Doctor Who's exclusive home in the UK. New episodes will premiere on the BBC and Disney Plus in late 2023. Today, the BBC and Disney branded television, 2 giants of entertainment, have come together to transform Doctor Who into a global franchise for UK audiences and the rest of the world. Under a shared creative vision, they will deliver this quintessentially British show to future generations on an unprecedented unprecedented scale, with Disney Plus as the exclusive home for new seasons of Doctor Who outside of the UK and Ireland. The announcement, which was made this morning by the next Doctor Who, Ncuti Gatwa, during an appearance on Live with Kelly and Ryan, begins a new collaboration between the BBC and Disney branded television. The show will be produced in Wales by Bad Wolf with BBC Studio Productions. Russell T Davies says, "I love this show and this is the best of both worlds. With the vision and joy of the BBC and Disney Plus together, we can launch the TARDIS all around the planet, reaching a new generation of fans while keeping our traditional home firmly on the BBC in the UK." And the BBC didn't just stealth drop this announcement. This isn't just a little small thing. Ncuti Gatwa has even filmed a little introductory explainer video explaining who is the Doctor, what is the TARDIS and everything. You can watch it on the official BBC YouTube channel, which, as you can see here at the bottom left, has already adopted the brand new logo. And this was also announced at an official BBC and Disney Plus luncheon event that happened yesterday. Ncuti Gatwa and Russ T Davies were there. They were giving speeches, but it was also attended by Disney branded television president A.O. Davis, Disney Plus president Alistair Bowen, BBC Global Distribution CEO Rebecca Glashow, and BBC Director of Drama Lindsay Salt. Ncuti Gatwa did a little speech there. He was talking about the significance of the role to him and the show being so deep in British culture and the fabric of Britishness that as a Rwandan immigrant to the country, it just feels really, really powerful. He says for people of colour, for marginalised people who really gravitate towards the show because it's about friendship and it's about adventure and it's about union and unity, and also Doctor Who is able to turn into anything or anyone, so the possibilities are endless. So the fact that the mission is going out to lots of people, that the possibilities are endless, is extremely cool. So let's talk about what we do know, its implications for the future of the show and the possibilities abroad. In the UK and Ireland, things are going to be pretty much identical, I think. All of the revived era of Doctor Who is still going to be available on BBC iPlayer. You're still going to get your DVD and home media releases and everything. It will still drop on the BBC first and be available on the iPlayer afterwards. I don't think people in the UK and Ireland are going to see much of a tangible difference from this deal. However, this is going to be massive for not only the Doctor Who production team, but also Doctor Who fans outside of the UK and Ireland. Quite notably, in America, BBC America posted this tweet saying, "We've loved being part of such a legendary series and the best part has been all of you incredible fans. Thank you to every Whovian," with 2 blue heart emojis. So it seems like that Doctor Who and BBC America's partnership has come to an end, which I guess would explain why BBC America dropped out of animation funding earlier this year, but more on that shortly. So in America, if you want to watch Doctor Who, you're going to have to watch it on Disney Plus. I also believe in Australia, they were getting it on a public service broadcaster, which kind of sucks because now in Australia, Doctor Who is behind a paywall. I think one of the main big downsides for this partnership outside of the UK is that Disney Plus original shows do not get home media releases, whether it be The Mandalorian, whether it be any of the Marvel Cinematic Universe shows, or some of their Hulu or Stars, more prestige ones like Dopesick or The Dropout. These do not get home media releases because they want to keep these shows on the streaming platform. I think in the UK, when it's because of the BBC and stuff, that we will still be getting DVDs, box sets, and Blu-rays and steelbooks and stuff like that. I certainly hope we'll still be getting that. But I think outside of the UK, it's a coin flip, I think. I think you're going to be way less likely to be getting home media Doctor Who releases because of this deal. I think the collection sets, I think those are still set in stone. That's classic era Who. There was no mention of classic Who in this deal whatsoever, so who knows if that's going to be making its way to Disney Plus in the near future, or if it's still going to be an exclusive to the ITVX or BritBox, whatever that new streaming service is that's going to be in the UK. I think those continue uninterrupted. Classic Who stays where it is for the time being. This is just the revived series onwards. But one massive reason why this is a huge deal for the Doctor Who production team is because Disney Plus is not just some tiny service. It is now by far and away the biggest streaming platform on the planet in terms of money invested into it and into its subscriber amount. If you don't account for the UK, Disney Plus has 150 million worldwide subscribers. Doctor Who was estimated to have a worldwide audience a few years ago of around 110 million. So just putting Doctor Who now on Disney Plus has bolstered that amount substantially just in terms of the sheer potential audience. And it's one thing to say between 5 and 7 million people watch Doctor Who and it's broadcast in the UK, but now they can say to potential licensees, they can say to the BBC, maybe we should have more resources invested into Doctor Who because it now has a potential audience base of 150 million people outside of the UK. While Disney is a big, massive, evil corporation, their end game is to make as much money as possible, and in order to do that, what they've done with Disney Plus is essentially create a massive money pit to outspend the competition. Netflix before was the biggest name in town, but they could only earn revenue from the subscribers and also from any merchandising deals as a result of their original content. However, Disney is a multimedia empire. Most of its money comes from its theme parks. Basically, as long as you can create something that gets people into the theme parks, they can lose money on whatever. But they also have Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar, the Muppets, all of these things where they get millions of dollars just from sheer movie box office, and then all the merchandising deals that come from that, which is why the Disney Plus subscription is relatively cheap. You just get people on board and then they can earn the money through other avenues. And they see Doctor Who as a way to progress that mission statement, which kind of puts to bed the idea that the current era of the show has ruined Doctor Who, has killed Doctor Who's future. No, Disney clearly sees something is still there with the show and they want to take advantage of that. Now here's the thing though, while we don't really know the true nuts and bolts and the inner workings of the deal, this just seems to be a distribution deal. I doubt that Disney execs are going to be looming over Russ T. Davis's shoulders when he's typing something out saying, no, you can't do that, you have to do this, you've got quotas to meet and stuff like that. I don't think that's going to be the type of partnership that this is. However, Disney will definitely have had to have exchanged some money to the BBC and to Bad Wolf in order to get the Doctor Who distribution license and exclusive access to it for the foreseeable future. That money could be invested back into the show itself, could go into Bad Wolf to expand on new technologies for the company itself, or it could go to the BBC for other things. Either way, because money has exchanged hands, maybe there are some stipulations that we're not going to be aware of for some time. As for what those stipulations are, I actually think they're going to be significantly more progressive than they would have been just under the BBC proper. I've seen a lot of Whovians online say that Disney is a really problematic company and that it's going to be regressing Doctor Who to fit within its own mold, but I don't think that's really the case anymore. Maybe like 5 or 10 years ago I would have agreed, but the Disney in 2022 is not the same company that it's been in the past. For example, at the beginning of this year, Disney Entertainment President Carrie Burke has called for 50% of characters from their Disney output to be from underrepresented groups, so basically either from the LGBTQ spectrum or people of colour. And we also have Charlie Cora, who's a member of the full-blown Disney family, who this year came out as transgender using he/they pronouns. I also think that the attacks from the Republican Party this year on Disney, where Disney is just a company entirely made up of groomers and stuff like that, has kind of shown the company that, oh, these people are going to hate us no matter what we do, so we might as well just do good. At least in terms of the culture war. Economically, financially, that's the more complicated and more negative impact. But in terms of actual representation on screen and behind the camera, they're much more aligned with Russell T Davies than they are the BBC, I think. The BBC over the past few years has taken a pretty hard shift towards the right, at least in terms of their news and current affairs division. And as I'm recording this video, we've had a brand new cabinet assembled in UK politics. We've got a Home Secretary who is vehemently anti-LGBTQ+, said that she dreams of sending innocent migrants away to their deaths in Rwanda, and has also recently blamed the Jews for everything going wrong in the UK. Our former education minister also blamed the Jews for everything going wrong in UK universities. We've got a women's and equalities minister who is anti-abortion, anti-LGBTQ+, whether that be trans people existing or same-sex marriage, they're against it, and so much more. And I bring that up because the BBC has to appease that government, and I think that could be one reason why Russ T Davies really wanted to bring Doctor Who under Bad Wolf stewardship, rather than see it be made in-house at the BBC, and I think internally the BBC kind of wanted that decision as well, because Doctor Who, while it is undisputably one of their biggest shows and one of their biggest moneymakers, I don't think they want the headache from reactionaries every time a new episode broadcasts. A few months ago we reacted to that Talk TV segment where they actually broke Ofcom hate speech regulations because they hated the idea of a same-sex relationship on screen that much. They said that gay people on screen was just predatory to children. I don't think the BBC wants that headache every time Doctor Who broadcasts. However, Disney have decided, for the time being, to completely weather those storms. And while reactionaries will decry Doctor Who went woke and went broke, it's still a massive moneymaker franchise. We recently had this article in The Telegraph, Is It Time for the BBC to Bin Doctor Who? It's an inflammatory title, but the actual piece itself is pretty fair. But we get to this bit at the bottom, it's also very lucrative. The show earned a eye-watering $1.8 billion in global sales last year, 550 million of which were from the United States. This makes it one of the BBC's biggest exports and means in programme sales alone. Doctor Who is worth 3 times as much as the UK's fishing industry, and that's before merchandise, the healthy global exhibitions business and burgeoning immersive theatre arm currently packing out the immersive LDN Theatre on Bond Street. So that's stuff like the Worlds of Wonder exhibition in Liverpool, like Doctor Who Time Fracture, like that bloody NFT card game that is releasing this week, I think? Those collection box sets in the background, which I was very worried when I saw the new logo. Are they going to be keeping that side logo? But Russ T. Davies has responded on Twitter. Somebody, the Post Monument, asked him, however, one question, what happens about the collection box set? And Russell responds, the collection logo won't change. Thank God. Now, whether or not Disney Plus will also be the home to maybe any prospective Doctor Who spin-offs, like for example, BBC 3 or BBC 2 could have some Doctor Who spin-offs in the UK and Ireland, but elsewhere in the world Disney Plus has got spin-offs. It's way too early to say. It's also way too early to say as to whether or not Disney Plus will pick up the budget and pick up the tab for any animated recreations. Now, they were able to happen in the UK because of BBC America funding. BBC America, being of course an arm from the BBC, is partly invested in preservation, is partly invested in the history of the BBC and in UK television. Disney Plus does not remotely have that obligation. If for whatever reason Disney Plus were to chip in some money to a Celestial Toymaker animated recreation, Disney will not release Song of the South, and they will not release an animated recreation of Doctor Who that has the N-word in it. Bloody Disney, political correctness gone mad, won't even let us have our racial slurs. However, the fact that Doctor Who worldwide made nearly $2 billion as a franchise, in Disney terms, that's like Frozen at its peak, the animated franchise Frozen. It makes that type of money. For Star Wars, we're talking about $5 or $6 billion worldwide. Shows that maybe BBC America pulling out of those animated recreation deals wasn't because of a lack of an audience or a lack of funding, it maybe was because of this Disney Plus deal, which must have been in the making for a long time. But I think the BBC, Russell T. Davies with Bad Wolf, Disney Plus and Sony, the latter of which do have a stake in Bad Wolf, their priority now will be overseeing the launch of David Tennant and Ncuti Gatwa, and then they'll take it from there as to whether or not they want to spin out the franchise more with spin-offs or with more animated recreations. We're not going to be hearing anything for a while unless Russell has really managed to twist their arms. So that's this news broken down. Be sure to let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel for more Doctor Who related news. Also follow me on Patreon, support me on Patreon if you want those Hartnell reviews and early access to my upcoming The Power of the Doctor review, which is in production right now. It's going to be a big one. And folks, I shall see you all next time.